coffee has transformed the life of Fátima ISMAEL.
El café para nosotros las mujeres es la vida.
For women here, coffee is our life.
Fátima is general manager of the Soppexcca coffee co-op in Jinotega, Nicaragua, a mountain community several hours from Managua, whose fine beans and brisk production have made it the coffee capital of the country. And now coffee, its #1 source of income, has also become the source of an innovative health program aimed at one of this nation's worst problems. Cervical cancer is the #1 cancer killer of women in Latin America. Here in Nicaragua, more than 800 cases are diagnosed each year. 354 women die. That's almost one every single day.
We know what it's caused by, we know how to prevent it, we know how to cure it if we can catch it early enough.
That's why August Burns has set up shop for the next week at the local health clinic here in Jinotega to screen female members of the local coffee co-op, many of whom have never before had a medical examination. Her Vermont-based nonprofit, Grounds for Health, grew out of an American coffee buyer's concern over the health of his female suppliers. 12 years later, Burns and her volunteers have seen some 15,000 women in 3 coffee-producing countries, saving lives along the way. She was lured, more like commanded, to Nicaragua after Fátima was diagnosed with cervical cancer 5 years ago.
I made the mistake of bringing my 8-year-old son with me to get my results. To get that news with my son, he was so small, and he was my only support.
It's a very emotional thing for you to talk about.
Yes, it's very emotional, but it's also the push that keeps me going in my fight for women's health.
Fátima found August at a coffee convention.
And she came to me, she looked straight at me, and she said, "I want you to bring your program to my community." She was absolutely clear that this is something that needed to happen.
Desde el primer momento creo que nos vimos a los ojos.
And from the very first moment we laid eyes on each other, I knew I'd found another woman who was committed to the fight against cancer.
Burns and her volunteers bring equipment and medical expertise. The coffee companies, through local cooperatives, provide financial support like transportation. Last month, these coffee workers traveled 3 hours into Jinotega for their exams. 500 would be seen in the 5-day period. Are you nervous about your test?
Sí, me siento con miedo. She feels nervous.
Teresa picks coffee and hasn't been tested in 7 years because she can't afford it. Margarita Aros Espinoza, 29, who works here at Soppexcca, has come here for her 2nd annual exam. This year she goes through the same low-cost, surprisingly effective, and very simple procedure. Her cervix is washed with a vinegar solution, and then the provider, here an American volunteer physician, does a visual inspection. It's called VIA. If a lesion is spotted, it can be tested and frozen cryogenically on the spot. Every woman also gets a pap smear, the gold standard for the developed world. The difference here? Cells are rushed to the lab down the next corridor, stained and fixed, and scanned under a microscope within 10 minutes. The whole process, known as screen and treat, is relatively new, perfect for developing countries like Nicaragua, where expensive technology for pap smears is not available.
It's very different, but it's adequate. What we have is adequate for screening, and that is a table, a health professional, whether that be a physician or a nurse, speculums, something to take a pap, and cotton and vinegar to do a VIA.
And that's all you need?
And ganas, que se dice en ganas, ánimo. Spirit, yes.
It's not just a Band-Aid. The volunteers train their local counterparts, so when they leave the country, the second poorest in the Western Hemisphere, some of the rest of the 200,000 women in this region will also have a chance to be screened. Although Grounds for Health volunteers can only screen and treat a fraction of the women who need it, Fátima ISMAEL says giving women's health priority for the first time improves more than their bodies.
Que si tenemos un 5, 10 o 15%.
If we can detect 5, 10, or 15% of women with cancer, Those are lives that we're saving.
Estamos, digamos, transformando los roles tradicionales de nosotros las mujeres.
Women's roles are being transformed. We used to be only producers or housewives, and we were invisible. Now, we're presidents of cooperatives, and we have a brand of coffee that's sold all around the world. We're reaching new levels.
De productoras de café.